there. She's loud and proud. We love her. Our next guest, you know him. I don't really even need to introduce him because he's one of our most patriotic freedom fighters in this country, and he represents Alberta really strong. He's been arrested, shut down, silenced, jailed, and he still fights back for you and me, and he's helping everybody to use their voices and come together. And he's the proud owner of the Whistle Stop Cafe here in Mirror, Alberta. So please raise your voices and welcome to the stage, Chris Scott.
Thank you very much. I'm going to make this very short because honestly, when we came down here for this, we didn't expect that. We have a meeting in Calgary at 4 o'clock, so I think we're going to be a little bit late, but it was well worth it. So, first off, I want to say, is there anybody else here who actually felt shivers up their spine watching those trucks on the road? That was absolutely amazing. And I had I had lots of thoughts, but one thought really stuck with me while I was watching those trucks. And I just kept thinking it over and over and over. And that was, this is it. Right?
Make it happen.
This is not, the problem we have right now is a political problem, but it's not going to be a political solution. Maybe in the long term. But in the short term, we have a political problem, but the solution is people. Nothing else. It's not going to court 500 times or having a protest or a rally. It's people unified with one goal, and that is to make our government pay attention to us and release us from this ridiculous, what do you even call it?
Get rid of the snakes!
Yeah, get rid of the snakes. Release us from this ridiculous stranglehold they have us in their never-ending crusade against COVID-19. So when I saw those trucks roll down here, and this is just southern Alberta, how many trucks do you think are going to show up from BC and then join us in Saskatchewan and in Manitoba? This is going to be absolutely huge. And it's already making a difference because that little weasel in Ottawa and his disgustingly corrupt right-hand man, Mr. Butts, are actually taking time out of their days to try and shut this down. Because apparently those hardworking men and women who are getting in their trucks and giving up their time to drive across Canada to get the message to Ottawa that we're not going to take this anymore, he's saying that they're terrorists. Anybody that doesn't agree with Prime Minister Trudeau and his right-hand henchman, Gerald Butts, is apparently a terrorist. What kind of a country do we live in where we're going to tolerate our Prime Minister calling us racist and misogynist and terrorists because we're standing up for ourselves? What does that tell you about that kind of a leader? Do they want to listen to the people? Maybe if they agree with him, maybe if they're complimenting him on his hair, but they certainly don't want to hear anything from the rest of us who actually believe in what it means to be Canadian. So that's why when I saw those trucks roll down there, I just kept thinking to myself, this is it. And if we can rally enough people behind those men and women in those trucks, we are going to send a message to the federal government that says, absolutely not, we're not doing this anymore, and you better start listening because you just poked a bear. So some of you might know, I actually got a truck from one of my friends, and I'm going to drive out to Ottawa with that convoy. And it's not the most comfortable truck in the world. I had a choice between taking a highway tractor or an oil field truck. I chose the oil field truck, partially because I like really, really big trucks, and because I want to represent the oil industry.
Absolutely.
Because that's kind of where I come from. And there's not going to be a lot of them in that convoy. Maybe there will be. I don't think so, because it's kind of busy in Alberta right now. It's winter, and guys are out on the road with their trucks. So I thought, you know what, better way to send a message to Ottawa that the oil industry here in Alberta is not happy with this either. I hear from men and women in the oil patch every single day. who are being subject to these ridiculous mandates. And by the way, these big oil companies that say that they're following the rules and they're implementing all these safety things over COVID-19, it's all a sham. If you talk to any of those people up there, they don't do it. They don't do their distancing. I've heard from people who have been asked to stay at work even though they're COVID positive. It's a joke, and we're not going to take it anymore. So, Convoy 2022, we're going to Ottawa, and we're going to give that town a bear hug. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, and speaking of that, I don't know if you guys know this, but, well, I did mention that Trudeau and Butts are trying to shut this down. They've actually attacked the GoFundMe page. I think it's up to like $2.3 or $2.4 million, which is going to pay for all these truckers' fuel and food, which is exactly what we intended it for, right? But he's labeled them as terrorists. So GoFundMe is withholding that money until they do a review. So I hate to ask you, but if you can, please, on a personal level, one-on-one, support a trucker if you can who's going out there that might not be able to pay for this all on their own. Don't use GoFundMe, don't use any whatever. Get a hold of them yourselves if you know them, and personally shake their hand and throw them something to help them get out there and back. Maybe the GoFundMe thing will be sorted out and it will come back eventually, but as of right now, there's a lot of trucks that are going on this convoy who may not otherwise be able to afford it. So just do what you can if you can, and if you can't, cheer them along at every step of the way. Thank you very much.
Whoops, there it goes.
Appreciate y'all.